want to talk a little bit about just my journey in walking by faith, taking a risk, taking a leap of faith. I'm reminded two stories, but the first one is in the Bible in Genesis 12, where God has instructed Abram to leave his father's house and go. Then I will show you basically where to go. And so Abram took everything, including his nephew Lot, and left. And then God gave him the instructions. Now let's bring that into today's terms. How crazy would that would that look like when God has given you some instructions to just go? Then I'll give you more specifics later. I know we've come into the age where it's almost like GPS. You put in the destination first, then you follow the instructions. But in God's way, he gives us the directions first, then he'll let us know the destination later. So the directive is to get up and go. So in my life, in over 30 years of music ministry and music industry, there's been many times when I've taken that leap with no specifics. God has basically placed in my heart to just take the leap of faith, be obedient. They say obedience is better than sacrifice. And I won't say that it was easy. It was difficult, but I trust God that much, especially my relationship with him, knowing that it's worth it. It's worth it to bet on yourself. When others doubt you, God loves you. He believes in you. He created you in excellence. And so I am so thankful for those many times. Now it's hindsight. At the time, I didn't feel as thankful. I'll be honest. At the times when I've taken those risks, I was kind of like, are you sure, God? I'm kind of feeling like Noah. That's another story where God instructed Noah to build an ark. Something that he's never done, but he did it out of obedience and even risk of being looked as a fool. And so I can say many a times when I've taken those leaps and taken that risk, I felt like a fool, like, man, this is so not safe. We live in a world where we are encouraged to be safe. I grew up in a household. My parents, yes, they weren't American, but they were born in. My dad was from Haiti and my mom was from Dominican Republic, and they came here, and so I'm first generation American. But they did basically encourage me to go to school, get an education, get a good job, get married, raise your kids, retire, live life, safe, and I was encouraged to do that. But that's just not how life presented itself. That's not how the call of God in my life presented itself. It was almost undeniable, similar to what Moses went through, where he was en route and then he came across a burning bush that wasn't necessarily consumed. It was inevitably supernatural. It was just, obviously this was not normal. And so for me, I've come across a lot of abnormal experiences or crossroads where I believed that it was God, and I trusted that it was God, God's voice speaking to me, letting me know that this is what you're called to do and be. Earlier in my young adult years. And so, I've taken risk and taken that leap of faith many a times, even earlier in my walk with Christ. And I'm grateful for it because I wouldn't be where I am today. Even now in my life, I feel like I'm in a crossroads where I'm taking another leap of faith to the point where but now I'm a little bit more like, I feel like I'm a pro. I feel like I'm a pro. I feel like, let's go. I'm gonna look crazy. I don't have certainty. I don't have directions. I just know it's time to go. Okay, God. And God is like, yeah, your faith has grown. Yes. So I feel like every level is a new test, is a new challenge, but it's a new reward. And so I encourage you, take that leap of faith. Bet on yourself. God has placed some gifts in you that the world needs to experience. And it may come in a very unconventional way. It may come through a very extraordinary way. It may not be the norm. So I just want to encourage you, bet on yourself, believe what God has placed in your heart. And when the call comes, answer the call. And this may require you to take the risk. So the risk may look unsafe. It may look uncertain. It may not be as clear. But just like what happened with Abram, when God gave him the directive and not the destination until later, there was a great reward and a promise that God has fulfilled. We are benefactors of Abraham's promise. So I want to just encourage whoever may be listening and watching this. If God has made the call, take the risk, answer the call. It may be unconventional. It may not be the safe thing to do. But another story is about what Peter did. In the midst of the storm, he saw Jesus walking on water. And instead of just staying in the stability of a boat in the midst of the storm, Peter took that risk and asked Jesus, can he meet him? Can I come where you are? And Jesus said, come. And what did Peter do? He got out the boat and walked on water in the midst of a storm. See, people just say, oh, he walked on water. It was in midst of a storm. And but the only thing that we're, as humans, we always mess up is when we take our eyes off of Jesus. And that's when we start sinking. But just like any father, just like any loved one, they come right on time to save you. So just know that you're covered. But just keep your eyes on Jesus so you don't sink or lose sight or lose focus. And even if you do, Jesus is still there to catch you. So I want you to I just want to encourage you. Bet on yourself. Believe what God has placed in you is special. Believe what God has placed in you is unique. Answer that call. Take that leap of faith. Believe that God is going to continue to give you clarity as you go. Yes, we live in a GPS age where we place our destination first, but in God, we get our destinations later. We just go. So just go. Believe. Take that risk. I want to leave you one thing. For you, there may be something that you've been ignoring. There may be a call that you haven't answered in your life. I want to encourage you this week. Take that one small step forward. Because you know what? I'd rather be moving forward than remaining complacent or stagnant. So I want to challenge you this week. Take that step forward to answer the call that God has in your life. Yes, you may not get the destination first, but take the directive and go. Trust that God will provide you clarity at the right time and at the right season.